This is where truth and hard documentation are the weapons of the day.
This is our current reality. Truth, unashamed, unafraid. Today I'm going to talk to you about truth and what truth really is. I think a lot of people have really missed on this subject, and this is what our current reality is about. It's about understanding truth, providing the truth for everyone here. And I think a lot of people have missed it. I think they don't understand what it is. So I just want to do a quick video today. By the way, I'm rocking my new hat today. So yeah, what's up? But anyway, be sure to follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/the1witness. Also check us out on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/onewitness. And also go to YouTube, youtube.com/c/onewitness. Let's get started. In order to understand truth, or absolute truth, we have our universal truth. We have to first begin by defining truth. What is truth? Truth, according to the dictionary, is the fact or actuality, a statement proven to be or accepted as true. Now, some people would say that there are no true realities, only perceptions or opinions, but others would argue that there must be some absolute truth or reality. But one view says that there are no absolutes to define reality. Those who would hold to this view believe everything is relevant to something else, and thus there is no actuality at all. And this is what we got to understand, that when you live in this society, you're going to embark on a whole lot of different things. This is why it's hard to promote. This is why it's so hard to do different types of things, because different people believe in different things. Now, because of that, there are ultimately no moral absolutes, no authority for deciding if an action is positive or negative, right or wrong. This view leads to situational ethics, the belief that what is right or wrong is relevant to the situation. There is no right or wrong. Therefore, whatever feels or seems right at the time or in the situation is right. Of course, situational ethics leads to a subjective, whatever feels good mentality and lifestyle, which has a devastating effect on society and individuals. This is postmodernism, creating a society that regards all values and beliefs, lifestyles, and truths that claim to be equally valued, or should I say valid. But the other view holds that there are indeed absolute realities and standards that define what is true and what is not. Therefore, if actions can be determined to be either right or wrong, or by how they measured up to absolute standards. Now, if there is or are absolute realities, or then or no realities, chaos ensues. Take the law of gravity, for instance. If it were no absolute, that we could not be certain, we could not stand or sit in one place until we decide to move. If 2 + 2 did not always equal 4, the effects on civilization would be drastic, just devastating. But laws of science and physics would be irrelevant, and the occurrence would be impossible. What a mess it would be. But thankfully, 2 + 2 does equal 4. But there is an absolute truth, and it can be found and understood. What makes this statement is that there is no absolute truth is illogical. To make the statement that there is no absolute truth is illogical. Why? Yet today, many people are embracing on culture relativism that denies any type of absolute truth. A good question to ask people who say there is no absolute truth is this: are you absolutely sure of that? And if they say yes, they would have made an absolute statement, which self-implies the existence of absolutes. They are saying that the very fact that there is no absolute truth is the one and only absolute truth. Besides the problem of self-contradiction, there are several other logical problems one must overcome to believe that there are no absolute or universal truth. Keep following me. Is that all humans are limited to knowledge and infinite minds, and therefore cannot logically make absolute negative statements. A person cannot logically say there is no God, even though many do so. Because in order to make such a statement, he would need to have absolute knowledge of the entire universe from being start to finish. Since that is impossible, and the most of everyone can logically say that, this is with limited knowledge, I do not believe that there is a God. This is what the person says. But another problem with the denial of absolute truth, universal truth, is that it fails to live up to what we know to be true in our own conscious, our own experiences, and what we see in the real world. For example, if a police officer does exist, but there's a person that says, the police officer does exist, and finds that the officer does exist, then when that person said that the officer does exist, is that absolute truth? If there is no such thing as absolute truth, then there is nothing ultimately right or wrong about anything. What might be right for you does not mean it is right for me. While on the surface of this type of relativism seems to be spreading or appealing, what it means is that everybody sets his or her rules to live by and does not think he thinks he's right. Evidently, one person's sense of right will soon clash with another's. What happens if it is right for me to ignore traffic lights, even when they are red? I put many lives at risk. Or what might think that it's right to steal from you, and you think it is not right? Clearly, our standards of right and wrong are in conflict. There are no absolute truth, no standard of right and wrong that we are all accountable to. Then we can never be sure of anything. See, people would be free to do whatever they want: murder, rape, steal, lie, cheat, and no one can say these things would be wrong. There would be no government, no laws, no justice, because one could not even say that the majority of people have the right to make and enforce standards upon minority. But a world without absolutes would be the most horrible world imaginable. From the spiritual standpoint, this type of relativism results in religious confusion. With one true religion, the one way of having a right relationship with God, all religions would therefore be false, because they all make absolute claims regarding the afterlife. It is not uncommon today for people to believe that two dynamically opposed religions could both be equally true, even though both religions claim to have the only way to heaven or teach total opposite truth. It's like having two batteries. It's like one battery claims to last 16 hours, the other battery claims to last 4 hours, but they both claim to be rechargeable. So people who do not believe in absolute truth ignore these claims and embrace a more tolerant universalism that teaches all religions are equal and all roads lead to heaven. Now, people who embrace this worldview oppose evangelical Christians who believe the Bible when it says that Jesus is the only way, the truth, and the life, and that he is the ultimate manifestation of truth and the only way to get to heaven. And that's found in John chapter 14 verse 6. Now, tolerance has become the one virtue of the postmodern society, the one absolute, and therefore intolerance is the only evil. The only any dogmatic belief, especially a belief in absolute truth, is viewed as intolerance and the ultimate sin. Those who deny absolute truth, who will often say that it's all right to believe, what you want, as long as you do not try to impose your beliefs on others. But this view itself is a belief, about what is right and wrong. And those who hold this view most definitely do not try to impose it on others. They set up like a standard and of behavior which they insist others to follow, hereby violating the very thing they claim to uphold. Other self-contradicting position. Those who hold such a belief simply do not want to be accountable, for their actions. If there is an absolute truth, then there are absolute standards from right and wrong. And we are accountable for these standards. This accountability is what people are really rejecting when they, reject absolute truth. The denial of absolute truth and universal truth and critical, should I say cultural relativism that comes with it is our logical result of a society that has embraced the theory of evolution by the explanation of life. If realistic evolution is true, then life has no meaning. I don't care what you say. We have no purpose, and there cannot be any absolute truth or wrong or right. Man is then free to live however he pleases, and is accountable to no one for none of his actions. No matter how much sin men deny the existence of God and absolute truth, they still will someday stand before him in judgment. See, the Bible declares what may be known about God is plain to them, because God has made it plain to them. For since the creation of this world, God's invisible qualities, his eternal power and divine nature has been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made. So men are without excuse, for although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor give thanks to God. Their thinking becomes futile, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools. Now, is there any evidence for the existence of absolute truth? Yes. First, there is the human conscience. First of all, there's the human understanding that certain something within us that tells us the world should be a certain way, or the world's a globe, or if the world is flat. There's some things that are right and there are some are wrong. Consciousness, right? Our understanding convinces us that there is something wrong with suffering, starvation, rape, pain, evil, and it makes us aware that love, generosity, compassion, and peace are positive things for which we should strive for. There is universally true in all cultures and all times. And the Bible describes a role of the human, understanding in Romans chapter 2, verse 14 through 16. Indeed, when Gentiles who do not have the law do by the things required by the law, they are a law for themselves, even though they do not have the law, since they show that the requirements of the law are written on your hearts. Their their understanding, right? Also bearing witness in their thoughts, now accusing, now even defending them. This will take place in the day when God will judge men's secrets through Jesus, as my gospel declares. This is found. The second evidence for the existence of absolute truth is science. I said it. Science is simply the pursuit of knowledge, the study of what we know and the quest to know more. Therefore, all scientific study must by necessity be founded upon the belief that there are objective realities existing in the world, and these realities can be discovered and proven without absolutes. And what would be there be to study? What would there be to study? So I think to myself, what would be there to study? Could one know the findings of science are real? In fact, the very laws of science are founded on the existence of absolute truth. The third evidence of the existence of absolute truth / universal truth is religion. All the religions of the world attempt to give a meaning and definition to life. Have you ever thought about that? They are born out of mankind's desires for something more than simple existence. Although religion, humans seek God, hope for the future, forgiveness of sins, peace in the midst of a struggle, an answer to our deepest questions. Religion really gives evidence that mankind is more than just highly involved animals. It is evidence of a higher purpose and existence of a personal and purposeful who implanted in man the desire to know him. And there is indeed a creator, then he becomes the standard of absolute truth, and it is his authority that establishes that truth. Fortunately, there is such a creator. He has revealed his truth to us through his word, the Bible. Knowing absolute truth, universal truth, is only possible through a personal relationship with the one who claims to be the truth, Jesus. See, Jesus claimed that to be the only way, the truth, the only life, the only path to God. John chapter 14 verse 6. The fact that absolute truth does exist points us to the truth that there is a sovereign God who created the heavens and the earth and who has revealed himself to us in order that we might know him personally through Jesus. That is the absolute truth. The mortal relativism of secular society comes directly from the author of confusion, the father of lies. You know what I'm talking about. Who has deluded these people into believing that they are little gods? He whispered his lies to the godless people and has helped them to become as he has become himself, rebels. The only difference is that when Satan rebels against God, he knew that God was real. Come on now. He aspired to sit on God's throne and become higher than him after being cast down to the earth, being along with his rebel angels, rebellious angels, stupid angels. His mission has been to make people believe that there is no God. Wow. Come on now. He has been quite successful in this evildoer, but the Bible says the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done no works. There is none who does good. Psalm chapter 14, verse 1. The homosexual community is using this absolute truth. Why am I not surprised? Remember that I'm talking about the lifestyle, not the person. So don't come bashing at me when I talk like this. But as they say, if you say a lie enough times, people will believe it. Our current reality. I'm going to tell you the truth, and if you don't like the truth, then go find something else to watch, because not the person, but the sin. God has taught us, hate the sin, love the person. Don't come against me. The size of our bones, everything, including which sex we are, God does not make mistakes. But since these godless people deny his very existence, they claim that they have their right to become who they feel they really are. They are teaching this to our children in public schools, whereas the outcry from the parents. Understand that I have been reading that pedophiles now are jumping on this bandwagon and are asking for society to view them as normal, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. They are claiming that having sexual relations with children is not wrong. It's what they think. This should make every believer of God cry and get on their faces before God. In the last couple of days, there's been a lot going on, in the world. And I ask myself, when does it end? I don't think that it's right that we follow the way things are. I think that people are entitled to their own opinions. But I think that we should know truth. And sometimes make other people think our identity groups crazy too. People, whoever's watching this is what happens when there is no absolute truth. The Bible is our guide through this life. When we meet our Savior and ask him to forgive us and abide in us, we know he is the King of the universe and that he is absolute truth, and there is no gray area. There may be gray area in courts, there may be a gray area in the lottery system, there may be a gray area at home, but in God there is no gray area. Where is that chapter come from? Oh yeah, that's right. First, it's incredibly sad that this is what the majority of the population world wants to watch in this days. They want to watch reality shows. They want to watch things that serve their interests and how they think and understand. Understand this though, that I can only speak for myself. Until then, I will continue to tell the truth to the world. I will continue to tell, what is right and what is wrong. And I want people to understand that in this world, you're going to have trouble. You're going to have struggle. But know that if you stand with God, you will be fine. This is our current reality. Truth unashamed. Truth unafraid. It starts with you.